Hello and welcome to the beautiful Conway Autodrome racetrack in Meerigama. This is the Exide MasterClass Shakedown. Today, we have an amazing lineup of vehicles to help us dive deep into the world of speed and performance. This is the Toyota GT86, the spiritual successor to the legendary AE86 sports car that was built by Toyota in the 1980s. It has a front-engine rear-wheel drive layout and a near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution between the front and the rear. But the most exciting thing about this car is that it shows that engineers back at the Toyota factory know how to make something exciting.
We're going to go on VTEC now.
This car combines some of the best features of automobiles that I love. It has a flat 4 boxer engine that was built by my favorite car manufacturer Subaru. And that engine was then taken and refined and further developed by Toyota, who are well known for their penchant for reliability. So what that means is that this car will probably still be going when just about everything else has broken by the wayside. It's not hugely fast. Its 2-liter normally aspirated engine produces around 200 horsepower, and you really need to rev it past 4,000 RPM to get the maximum performance from the engine. But what's really special about this car is its nimble chassis and quick steering response. Driving this car on the way to the track in traffic, I must say it was just about as boring as its fifth cousin, the Toyota Corolla. But bring it here and bury the loud pedal, and this car comes alive like a fireworks display on New Year's Eve. You know what they say about front-engine rear-wheel drive cars? The engine and the gearbox is exactly where it's supposed to be. Sam? What have we got here?
Well, we're about to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Turbo GT86. I agree with everything Ishraq says. He's right, this chassis is brilliant. In fact, when this very car landed in Sri Lanka, I was blown away with how poised and brilliant the chassis was. I couldn't believe that a modern car could feel the way it does. I've been driving cars that had so much of effort put into making them safer and more comfortable, but not into perfecting the driving experience. And yet this came along and solved all of that. But there was always one problem. See, the GT86, it is a collaboration with Subaru. The engine is mostly Subaru. And what is Subaru known for when it comes to their engines? Turbo power, right? Their WRC cars dominated when they were fitted with turbos. The first thing you think about when it comes to Subaru is forced induction. And despite the fans crying out year after year for a turbo-powered version of the GT86 or the BRZ from the factory, we never got it. So the aftermarket stepped up. This car is running a full bolt-on kit from Gredi. You get the turbo, you get the intercooler, and of course it's running a custom map as well. But crucially, all this has been done without having to rip the engine apart to upgrade the internals. Oh, looks like Ishraq wants me to stop. I knew he wouldn't let me have my fun for too long. Let's see what he wants.
Sam, you've been holding out on me. That looks like a quick bit of kit. By the noise that I heard on the track, it sounds like it's turbocharged. Yes?
Well, your ears don't deceive you. It is indeed turbocharged, and it's a hell of a lot faster than what you've got.
All right, I think there's only one way to find out. We've got a bit of empty tarmac in front of us. What do you say about a drag race, Sam?
You know what? I thought you'd never ask.
All right, let's go. Now, I've got a little trick to try and beat Sam. I know he's got a GT86 that's turbocharged and it's got more power than my normally aspirated one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the traction control button on this car here. Hold it down for 5 seconds. And there, right there, it switches the traction control off. So I'm going to try and use this and get a better launch and hopefully try and beat him down the drag race.
Cross the line in first.
Well, that was close.
Right, well.
Sam, I was ahead there for a while, but you got me in the end. What happened at the launch?
Yeah, can I admit something?
Go ahead, yeah, what was that?
I might have left traction control on at the start, and it just completely
I
cut the
knew I was
engine
going to get you in the launch with the traction control off, but I must say it was pretty close, and props to both cars. Yeah, they performed really well.
Yeah, and it proves even if you have as many electric aids as you want, you can still be an idiot and mess it up.
Yeah, fantastic. Come on, let's go park them up and have a look at the bonnet of the turbocharged GT86 because I've been waiting all day to have a look at that. Sam, I know why this was faster. It's supposed to be a Toyota GT86, but it's got Subaru written all over the place.
It really does, and both cars have that. But the key thing about this car is it has a Greddy turbo kit.
You know, actually when you open the bonnet, I was expecting there to be pipes all over the place for this to kind of look like spaghetti bolognese, but looking at it, I can't even say that a turbocharger kit has been fitted as an aftermarket option. It looks just absolutely brilliant and like it was meant for this engine bay.
No, it is. That's one of the advantages of having a car that has a large enthusiast base around it. Because when you have so many people who love this car and love this engine, you're going to have tons of different aftermarket options for it, all of which are designed specifically for the GT86.
I know in the normally aspirated GT86, the one that I drove over there, the engine has a very high compression setup to develop the power and the torque. How have they managed to balance out the turbocharging versus the high compression here? How much of boost is it running?
Basically, to answer your question, it's a really conservative level of boost, 0.4.
But that's still impressive. Even with 0.4 bar boost, it manages to produce the amount of torque and power that it has. And it just goes to kind of show that really any engine can be turbocharged, can it?
It can, but I think, like I said earlier, the fact that the GT86 has such a huge enthusiast following for this engine, it really helps. You know, you can just order the parts online and bring them down. Obviously, there's a bit of tuning involved, but it's a fairly straightforward way of getting the power out.
Brilliant. Now, obviously, this is an expensive car with a bespoke bit of kit. But after our last episode of the Exide MasterClass Garage Talk, we've had a lot of questions and comments about whether you can turbocharge just about any car. And I think, Sam, you've managed to find an answer to that.
Why, yes, I have. See, unlike the GT86, not every car out there comes with an off-the-shelf turbo solution. That includes the turbo piping, the intercooler, and everything else needed to make something work perfectly. So what happens if you want to turbocharge your slightly boring family car? Well, there's another option. You could rip out that old naturally aspirated engine and put in something a whole lot more interesting. Like, say, from a Toyota Celica.
Thanks, Sam. It's my turn now to go for a spin in a turbocharged car. The engine in this RAV4 is the 3S GTE. It's from one of Toyota's most successful rally cars, the Celica GT4, which had over 30 World Rally Championship wins to its name. It's a 2-liter turbocharged engine that produces between 260 and 280 horsepower. But the best thing about it is that it has the same exact block that originally comes in this RAV4. So that means that when it came to fitting this turbocharged engine in, there was no cutting, no chopping, just fit the engine right in. It fits like a glove. Fiddle about with the wiring a little bit, and voila, you have a turbocharged RAV4. It's as easy as making your morning cup of tea. The RAV4 was originally designed as a family SUV to take your kids to school, to go grocery shopping, maybe a little mild off-roading if you want to. But fitting this turbocharged engine in has turned this car from a mild little puppy into an absolute Rottweiler. When you sit in a sports car that's low and sleek and has a fast engine, you're kind of ready for it, you know that it's going to go fast. But you get into this RAV4 and you think it's an SUV, you don't think it's going to go so fast, but driving it hard, it kind of scrambles the brain. It's like biting into an apple. And you don't get the apple taste, you get the lobster thermidor and the prawn. It's nice. It's just so different. There are a few drawbacks, however. As yet, this car has not been fitted with air conditioning, so my face is kind of beginning to melt. It's also quite loud, which means that you probably won't be able to have a meaningful conversation with anyone other than yourself. However, for sheer excitement and an adrenaline rush, this is absolutely fantastic. Sam, why did you stop me?
I want to know what you think.
Well, if you're measuring miles per gallon, then this car is a bucket load of fun. I mean, I've driven a normal standard RAV4 with a normally aspirated, naturally aspirated engine, and it's just nothing to write home about. But fitting a turbocharged engine into this has completely transformed it. In fact, I would think that every car really needs to be turbocharged. I mean, it adds power, it adds torque, it adds fuel consumption at certain times, and it gives a car a certain je ne sais quoi.
Well, yes and no. See, I kind of thought the same thing after the drive this morning, but it got me thinking. There are some special cars out there which are naturally aspirated, which are known for their power, for their speed, for their character, that don't have turbochargers as well.
I hope you've got something. I don't know what it is. I have something in mind. I hope it's that.
Oh, I think it's that.
All right.
Have a look over there.
Now that I want to get behind the wheel of.
Oh, you'll get your chance, but not before me. See, there's another school of thought, right? I'm not saying I subscribe to it, but some people would say that adding a turbo is a bit of a lazy way of getting power out of an engine. I think a lot of those people are now putting turbos on their engines, probably for fuel efficiency and emissions reasons. But I mean, you kind of get what you mean.
I understand what you mean, but also, Sam, you must understand, but when it comes to turbocharging, there's so much of technicality involved.
Yeah.
It involves the cooling, the intercooler system that has to be built, the engine control unit. But I must say, there is something that is so pure about a naturally aspirated engine that revs to 9,000 RPM. And I know that this Honda S2000 revs to 9,000 RPM.
Oh yeah.
What is different about the S2000 is that the power curve is quite linear. Now with a turbocharged engine, you get a certain amount of lag, and then suddenly the boost comes in and you have this huge rush of torque and huge rush of power, and the wind just gets blown through your hair. But with the S2000, the power is a little bit more linear and you have to kind of really rev it hard, but it is absolutely fantastic. And what you have to understand is about with these normally aspirated engine cars like the S2000, the EG6, the Type Rs, what Honda did was they focused so much about the handling and the chassis balance that it kind of complements the naturally aspirated feature of the engine.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's something so pure about this car and this engine. And you know what? I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let you have a go because I can see it in your face. I can see it in your eyes.
I'm just itching.
Okay.
You know that I'm a Honda guy. I've raced the EG6.
Yeah.
I own the SD2 Type R. Yeah. I've driven all sorts of Hondas. But funnily enough, this is the first time I'm driving an S2000.
brilliant. Same
Brilliant,
here.
yeah.
Same here. As a kid, I dreamed of owning one of these, and I mean, I don't own it, but thanks to the owner, at least I get to experience it today.
Exactly. I mean, Hondas were kind of known for their front engine, front wheel drive cars, you know, with lightweight and, you know, nimble handling, until they came with the Honda NSX, you know, which kind of just blew everyone out of the park, you know, with its speed and performance.
Like you said, the linear curve of power, that torque curve. I mean, below 4,000, there's not a lot. But once you get it on VTEC, oh, ho, ho, ho.
You know what I like to do with Honda cars with VTEC engines, Sam?
I know what you're going to say.
Say it with me. On VTEC,
Off VTEC.
we're going to go on VTEC now.
Ho, 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 ho.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Exide MasterClass. If you want to know more about how turbos work and how race car technology translates to your everyday road car, click on the link here. And if you want to know how Sam and I fared as novices on our first off-roading experience in the Shakedown, click on the link here.
If you enjoyed what you saw today, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, then click on the bell notification icon so that you get notified as soon as the next video is uploaded.